Well, I'm in the knife shop today. Yesterday I epoxied and pinned the handles on my neck knife, and today I'm going to do a little shaping on the handle. I'll tell you, it's probably been nearly 2 years since I actually made a knife. Maybe it hasn't been quite that long. Maybe it's been about a year and a half. And I'll tell you, well, it's sort of like something that you can lose quickly if you don't do it every day. And I have made just mistake after mistake after mistake. And this is things that I've already learned and got past. I'm having to relearn. Here's a perfect example. I have just about ruined this. I had screwed up and misground this, and the grind line, this side came out real nice, and this side, the grind line went way up here before it came down. I had a circle. The grind lines on both sides were lower. So I've tried correcting it, which means I had to also redo this side grind line. And this is hardened. I've already heat treated this and tempered it, so I have to be very careful grinding it, not to get it too hot to unheat treat it. So I'm having a hard time. This side, it's acceptable. This side is not. And I'm doing this by hand, and it's the first knife ever that I have tried to grind by hand, and it's not looking really good. So I'm going to keep on tinkering. It's made. I've got nothing to lose by keeping on tinkering with it. I'm going to put a higher grit number on the belt. I think I got 80 on there. I'm going to go up to 120 and see if I can't make that grind line more defined and grind some of these little dips out. I think I can save it. We'll see. And this, the epoxy was almost dry while I was working on it, and because I have some epoxy that's been sitting around for a year and a half, and got a feeling I didn't get these squeezed tight enough. I'm using these new clamps, and I don't think they squeeze as tight as these others that I normally use. Right there. Live and learn. But I'm enjoying myself. I'm out here in my shop, and I will pick up. I will get back to the level that I was knife making, which wasn't an expert by any means. I mean, I would still consider myself, even when I was proud of the knives I was shipping out, I would still consider myself a fledgling beginner knife maker. But I had reached a point where I was very proud of the knives that I was putting out. I was satisfied, and at that point, it was minor things that I was trying to improve, and now it seems like I'm just going to have to go back to square one and learn all over again how to make knives. So let me get this on my grinder and see if I got the gaps that I'm afraid I may have between the steel and the wood. I hope not. We'll be back in a minute. Well, not bad, not bad. Let's put it over here under the light. No gaps, so I'm happy with that. Now it's going to take a whole bunch of hand sanding. I've got it basically roughed out on the belt sander, the belt grinder. Now I got to take my die grinder and clean this up in here and shape it up. And then it's a whole bunch of hand sanding. There is something that disappoints me. I've got a bit of a screw up there. Right there, you can see where I drilled through this. The drill bit splintered it just a little bit. That one came out okay. And now look at these pins. This is not something that I did. It's a manufacturing flaw. And these pins are very expensive. And there you go. That's what it's supposed to look like. And that's what this one looks like. So these little tiny round pins that are outside the square and the round pin that's supposed to be inside the square, they're not there. They probably weren't long enough. And this was the tail end of that last pin. So, oh well. And I got a little bit of bleed through with the epoxy, but I believe I can get that out of there. Do I have any on this side? No. Okay. All right. It's not terrible, and this is a gift. I really want it to be nice, but I'm the person I'm giving this to knows that it's been quite a while since I've made a knife. All right. I'm gonna quit yammering. I'll get back to it. I'm not going to show you the steps I go through, but I will show you the finished product when I'm done and the sheath is made, but it won't be in this video because I'm only working a little bit every day because I have so much other stuff to do. And one of the things I have pressing right now is I have 3 oil changes to do, 2 lawnmowers and my John Deere Gator. And I'm not going to get to that today, but I'm going to get a little more work done on this. So anyway, you'll be seeing this when it's done. And if I can improve on this, I'll let you see that too. And then these two are not spoken for. I'll be making these 2 next, and these 2 will be for sale. Well, I have got this sanded up to 600 grit. I like the feel of that. Now, I've got to clean that blade up a little bit. I got to get that epoxy off of the nose of that up here. And I'll do that with a razor blade. And then I'll put a coat of True Oil on it. Probably going to end up putting 10 or 12 coats on it, but I may get the first coat on tonight. We'll see. God, I wish. I can't do anything about it except drill it out and find some more that looks like this, but I'm not. All right, we're getting there. I said I wasn't going to show you the process, but I just decided to go ahead and show you what it looks like sanded up to 600 grit. I don't know if I mentioned that I had kind of messed up the blade on a knife I was giving away to a friend, but I managed to save it. And what I did was turn it into a full grind. And that's just rust because I just took it off you have to, when you grind these after you heat treat them, you've got to keep them cool or you'll lose your heat treating. So I had to dip this, grind and dip, grind and dip, grind and dip. So I got a lot of water. I'll show you the mess I made. It's messy. But yeah, I managed to save the blade. And this little edge here that's not like this, I'm going to be sharpening that. That's where this edge is going to go. So I think, plus I'm going to have to work this blade in my Chuck Award knife vise for a little while. This is at 120 And it is hardened, so it's going to take a whole lot of rubbing, but I'm going to bring it up to 220. And I think I can work some of this out on the edge. But anyway, I've saved it. It's going to be a good blade. Okay. Now, I believe I'm going to go put a coat of True Oil on that. Yep. Guy drove up here, put it in park, and broke his Chevy. I guess he put it in park too hard. I see this a lot, you know. Chevys broke down in parking lots, on the road, in driveways, up on blocks. As a matter of fact, people were complaining about Chevys being broke down so long that grass would get tall underneath it. So the next year they come out with a new Chevy that was tall enough to push a lawnmower up under. Yep. Alrighty then. Do you want to get out and whoop that cow's butt?
Oh, aren't they beautiful?
What's the cow's butt?
This one
She
is
never
looking
barked.
at like, oh, look at Mama.
Oh, yeah.
Mama.
Yeah, what's on
No,
this
they're
noise?
looking at the red on your truck.
What's on this commotion?
Now, she's so mad
Yeah, she's
that
drilling.
she slung snot up on her, spit up on her back. That's when they're mad, when they do that.
They're looking at the red on your truck, Brad.
They hear this dog.
Bully, bully, bully.
They hear this dog.
Ole!
They're all mama cows. There's some babies. Bark! Nice.
Cows!
Let's go. We
Cows.
got more cows.
Ow, ow.
I know they look delicious.
Yes, they do.
Hey, ribeye. There's T-bone over there.
And there's hamburger.
And there's flank steak.
So what are you doing?
I said a bunch of bad words today. I had one guy, and I just by coincidence, I happened to look in my mirror. We were on the highway, and this guy, at the exact moment I looked in my mirror, drifted almost. If I hadn't of cussed and moved over, because cussing is part of it, he'd have hit me.
Yeah, you went way over into the brake
also-
cone.
Yeah,
And
and if I
also
hadn't,
the-
that guy would have hit me.
And
And
also
then
the guy that
we're
pushed
at
the buggy.
right, we're
and
at Home
kicked it,
Depot,
pushed.
and a grown man my age put some stuff in his car, and then took the buggy and gave it a shove out into the parking lot, and it
And it
hit
did-
somebody's vehicle.
Yes, it did
And I
get
said a bad
silver
word,
Chevy.
and Billy heard me, so we're gonna pay up. So, one. So I said two together, so that's two. And then earlier today, I said something about his mother. I
Who?
said, not your mother. The guy
Somebody.
Who that guy who
Somebody's
shoved
mother.
that buggy and hit the pickup truck.
Yeah,
So,
somebody's mother.
And this is for yesterday, and this is for tomorrow morning, because I know I'm going to owe him some money. That's it.
Funny.
I've ate a lot of steak in my life, but I just can't think of anything that makes more sense than buying budget steak on the corner of a busy road.
Yeah, out of business.
20 ribeyes for $29. Who could say no to that?
Right. Out of a
It's-
freezer that's on the back of a pickup
Right.
truck.
I think it's heavily seasoned with ptomaine.
And it says 8 strips for 20.
8 strips for 20. Oh, we got to get some.
Strip steaks.